So, do y'all like magic, mystique? I do. That's why I spend so much time in the outdoors, because everything to this day, I'm 58 years old, is still magical, and there's mystery involved. But what I'm talking about right now is ancient man, and this will be another talking video, not as popular, I know. But if you have a passion for hunting arrowheads and artifacts, and what man did before us thousands of years ago, I think we're going to touch base on some things that's going to lead up to some other things come up this fall. I'm D.W. Verts, Hickabilly Outdoors. I'm in the magical, mystical world of the outdoors where ancient man once lived. Be right back. So what was all that drivel about? Here's something I want you to think about. On this creek and these hills, fields behind me, people lived thousands of years ago, survived, sometimes thrived, I believe. They left a lot of stuff behind for us to look at and us to see. How much stuff did they leave behind? How many artifacts are there? I've been told there aren't any left. I need to do a video about that. Maybe this will be the video about that. I did a shoot here a few weeks ago where I actually did some napping on some rocks and showed how pieces were made and came by that we could look for and to find. I clues at the scene of the crime. Joe Walsh. Debitage, the flakes and pieces and parts left behind. And there's lots of it. If I even, where I'm at in this creek now is a public spot. If I look, I'm not even going to tell you, there's a piece down there that's definitely been hit on by man. I can see it from right here. It's not an artifact per se. Point being, in that video and a few days before when I was making some practice hits on some rocks, I made a whole pile. I'll bet you I have 150 flakes. And never made a complete point. My point is there's a lot of stuff out there to be found. So let's take it to this example. I made, say 100 flakes, more than that. But let's say 100 flakes in maybe 35 or 40 minutes of hitting on a rock. I made that much sign. In other words, if somebody to find that 1,000 years from now, they'd say, look, somebody did this. Take that times 4,000 to 10,000 years or more. Think of it. Wait a minute. One person napped one time or two times for say 35 or 40 minutes. Take that times 5,000 or 6,000 years, give or take, whatever. One person. These were multitudes of people. There was millions of Paleo Indians that lived in the United States of America. Millions. Nobody really knows how many. There's no sign. They didn't leave any written records. It's all about conjecture and about things we've learned, things we can guess at, things we're never going to know. If that's not mysterious and magical, I don't know what is. So more to my point. Let's say this bluff right here. I guarantee you it's got stuff on. There's a mound up there where I can't have permission to be. I found one of my best points ever right up there where I do have permission to be, kind of. It's changed ownership. I think I can still get permission. A lancelet paleo piece right up there. They lived up there. They fished and they killed stuff in these creeks. They lived over here in this field. My best field right now is a half mile behind me this way. They lived here. But when did they live here? Who was here? Who started this whole mess? So, in this part of the country in central Missouri, I find, I said paleo stuff, but not very much of it. Most stuff I find is mid-archaic to late woodland. I find very little Indian relics. Indian being modern day Native American Indians, which is the last 1,000 years or so. There's some places, but I don't find very much. Stuff I find was a 4,000 to 6,000 year period when people lived everywhere here, and I can go on top of every hill, every ridge, everything near water, and I can find that stuff everywhere around here, because there was millions of people, not all at the same time, but enough of them over a period of thousands of years. They left a lot of stuff behind, and I've got people telling me, oh, it's all been found. Gee, you're kidding me, right? 0.1% is probably 10 times more than what's been found. These gravel bars on these creeks are upwards of 60 foot deep of gravel. That's how deep those veins are. Over the years, stuff could be really deep in them. Sometimes stuff pops to the top. Sometimes new stuff falls in off the banks. Off that big old high bluff bank here. We find the easy stuff. We used to find a lot of stuff when they tilled, when they disc. I gotta pick that up. When they disc our fields. Look at that. Been hit on by man, no doubt about it. Look at that. We used to get the easy stuff because for years and years and years, we turned that dirt over to a foot or 15 inches or so. We quit doing that. You think everything was found in them spots? No, they were still turning stuff up when they quit and they went to the no-till. There's a lot of stuff left out there, and my thing is I'm going to have to dig to find it. Which I've dug before. I like digging. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. And I like to do it when it's cooler weather than this. But take into consideration what I'm trying to tell you. Let's say this ridge top right here. And this ridge top, there's a cave over there, or several caves probably. I have no permission for that. I have permission for this stretch, and then back over there, no permission again. Rock bluffs, overhang shelters. But let's just take this 140 yard long stretch right here. I've never dug up there, but I found that one paleo piece that time. How many people and how long were they in that one spot? And that's just one little spot. One little bitty spot. A bunch, maybe just once. I've got places I'll guarantee you was just one-time habitation, or even I've got a spot I'm pretty sure they stopped and camped and made stuff and left. It's just one pile of flakes, one broken point over the years. It's what it feels like. But are there places up here? Well, yes, there are locations where a lot of people stayed over a lot of years. That's that field behind me up here. One of my best fields. That's the way it is, I guarantee you. No paleo stuff in there, but quite a blend of years and years. Thousands of years. Say from 7,000 years ago to 3,000, 2,000, 2,000, I find a lot of rices. Say 5,000 years of habitation. 5,000 years, I made all them flakes and chunks and pieces in 40 minutes or less. Gosh, guys, can you wrap your head around that? Can anybody that watches my stupid videos, can you get in your head and imagine how many people roam these hills? And not just these hills. I can go anywhere in the state, anywhere almost in the country, in these same conditions where there's good old water. I can walk up and I can find pieces and points, because I've done it. I was in Arkansas early this summer and walked down to a river's edge and found several pretty flakes right off the bat, because that's where people live. They had to have the water. Magic and mystery. It just mind-boggling. My brain is too puny. My brain hurts to think about how many people lived on these hills over the years. So I am trying to figure out where I can do a dig and put as much into my favor as possible. Because some digs are not even a point a day or less. I mean, I've got a horrible one going now. I know there's more stuff there, but I'm not finding very much. I've dug a spot 4 times and shot one little video. There's places around here better than that. And I'm trying for this fall into this winter, studying maps, thinking about things, and it may be the most blown out of the water weird place. I found artifacts a mile and a half from a creek around here with a small spring. The Sedalia culture, 3,500, 5,000 years ago, whatever, were known to be a little farther away from water. Maybe they had better ways of packing water. I don't know. And nobody does. There's no written, it's all conjecture. And there's a lot of learned knowledge, but there's also a lot of guesses. I kind of like guessing. I like keeping a little magic, a little mystery. It'd be cool to go back in time and spend a week with these people 5,500 years ago. Spend a week watching. You'd learn so much in one day, I'll bet. If they had language, what they did for some sort of hierarchy, it's just amazing. So, as the weather starts to cool down, before the deer seasons, I'm going to be doing some scouting, some thinking, because this YouTube stuff's hard on you. I'm pushing myself. It's still fun. Climbing that mountain right there is no fun, and coming in from the top side, I can't hardly do it. I don't have permission. This is landlocked. There's an overhang right there. Never been to it. It's not a big one, but there's a shelter right there. I know there's a shelter an hour and a half from here. It's never been dug. It's 100 yards long. It's a big one. I don't hardly have time for that. If I ever get to retire and make YouTube a living, which ain't gonna happen, I'd probably spend some days down there, or weeks or years. That thing's huge. And there's a cave and a spring and all the good stuff. It's an hour and a half or better from here. Are y'all getting it? Am I mysterious enough? Probably not. Most of my videos are like this are boring. I don't get a lot of love. Whatever. That's what I'm going to try to do. The mystery of ancient man. Paleo. I like that Paleo Indian. Pre-Native American. Before the tribes. Before organization. Before written language. Before ceremonial stuff probably wasn't big into play those times. It was right here. Where I'm standing right now. My best field I've got right now to hunt is that way. I found my best paleo point ever right up there, 150 yards. And I find stuff in this creek from time to time when other people ain't finding it first. That's all I got. Sorry if it's boring, but I got enough people like this and like the mystery, like the magic, just sharing with you what my thoughts are. Think how many pieces there are out there to look at. When I made a bunch of junk in 40 minutes, I could have made 2 points in that amount of time. Just think how much stuff there is out there. It's amazing. I'm going to go look for some more, but pretty soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.